Hello and welcome. This is Majesty Sussex Report. I'm Antonio. I actually ended up doing a podcast, and the episode was really long, over 2 hours. So I just completed it and I'm staring at it right now and I'm like, this is 2 hours long. No one is going to listen to you for 2 hours long. So, and knowing that a lot of you folks only listen for maybe 5 to 6 minutes of what I have to say, I'm going to chop this in half. And hopefully it's going to be in two parts. Hopefully you listen and enjoy it. Part two is really serious, I think. And if you had to choose between either one to listen to or watch, I would prefer you did both. But I think part two is kind of important, I think, in how, the defense of misinformation, the defense of the Sussexes in the face of misinformation. So I just wanted to come and say that at the outstart of this first part. I hope you enjoy it. I think sometimes I'm absolutely ridiculous in it, and other times, it takes a tone of seriousness. But part two, it's a lot more serious than not. And enjoy them both, and thank you. Welcome. This is Majesty Sussex Report. I'm Antonio, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Thank you for spending some of your valuable time with us. How is everyone doing? How are you feeling? How's your week been? I hope everything is going well, and if it's not, let's do our best to turn it around. So, hang on a second. The Olympics started today. Actually, I'm in the middle of watching the Olympics while I do this. So, how about we get some Olympic themed scenery going on, okay? Paris, here we go. All right, this is more like it, right? Different scenery, and of course, Madame Celine Dion. And I have to say this, folks. If there's one of those things, besides all the great things that the French have given to civilization or to society, the out of the box thinking and the sort of way of looking at something differently, and the artistry. Some may call it, I think, maybe the English might call it flamboyant way of being. But I love it. I absolutely love it. Anything that can be reimagined is in my sort of sweet creative spot, because I love to kind of imagine how might we look at this differently? How might we recreate something but with a different color palette or something? And I'm telling you, I'm watching the open ceremony right now as I'm getting this ready. And who came up with the thought and just said, instead of the stadium, why don't we have the athletes go down like the Seine River on bateaus? And it's just, wow, right? And to have all the different sort of tableaus or acts that they have across the city, and just incredible way in which it's being done, and the imagination it captures me, and I love it, absolutely love it. If like the English is really good at pomp and circumstance and that kind of stuff, like the French excels when it comes to that creativity and that infusion of I don't know if I want to use the word flamboyantness, because they're I don't know what kind of connotation people associate the word to, but I just love it. I love that sort of uniqueness in which they're able to rethink and reimagine something. Now, I can recognize this is not going to be a cup of tea for everyone, because, I can already hear people going, well, I prefer it in a traditional stadium because everything is in one place. I think there's a better feel of togetherness. And this is a little bit more, you see in this city, because different acts are taking place across the city. For the spectator watching at home, it's good. It's good for us because we're able to see or watch everything. But if I think I was there and sitting in one of the stadiums on the sand, it would be kind of like, oh well, but I would have to have my TV or something, or a tablet on. I'm not gonna carry a TV to the sand. If I had like a tablet or my phone or whatever, I guess I would have that on and be able to experience the other stuff. I think I just saw the Dutch team go by, and the Dutch royal family was just jumping like crazy. It was just really cool. I love that. Just love it. It's really great. Anyways, all right. So today, what I've got prepared. How many of you, if you're able to watch the entire thing of Tabloids on trial? I have to say, one can have a gazillion critiques and criticism and everything else, but look, I've always looked at things, or I try to anyways, as to, is this a win? Is it just neutral, or is it a loss? And for me, this was a win. It really was, because for people who didn't understand why Prince Harry is doing what he's doing, for people who continuously keep criticizing him, because this, I think, if they are willing to watch the entire thing and willing to watch it not with a closed mind, because there are people going to watch it with a closed mind. You can tell them anything, you can bring them a million proof, and they'll still hold their opinion as they want to hold it. It's like that person has said he can, shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and nothing would happen, right? It's the same thing for some people who they already have their cemented opinion or thought. Listen, good luck, salute, arrivederci, au revoir, right? But for people in general who I think are most people, when they're presented this, I can't see how they cannot still understand why he's doing it and what honorable of a man he is, because he's not only doing this for himself, for his family, he's doing it for the nation, he's doing it for his people. Because as the documentary showed, what the tabloids have done to just common folk, ordinary people, living their lives, people who just by fate found themselves helping other passengers from a train, from an incident, a terrorist attack, all of a sudden are thrown into the limelight, and the tabloids then destroy their lives. Right? They take heroes and they just destroy their lives. This is, for me, as I kept watching it, I kept just thinking the evil that exists within that whole environment is just unthinkable, because you have to subscribe to it, and it It makes you take your values, whatever are the things that you believe in, your morals, and it makes you decide whether you're going to compromise them and push them aside and then subscribe to this evilness. Because there's nothing good that comes out of it. Yes, they said the democratization of information and all of that. Bull. This is mean, horrid, evil entertainment. The satisfaction that some people get of watching other people suffer, of watching other people taking not one peg down, but 1,000 pegs down for whatever reason, right? And if anyone is like that, you should evaluate your own sentiment. And what I found fascinating in parts of it is this idea, because I think someone says it, and she said, these people were not famous. These are just ordinary people. What gives us the right to inflict that kind of pain and suffering and judgment on a famous person? What? Why do we think that because this person is rich and recognized and famous, we have the right? We don't. That's another human being. Look, some people achieve their fame by, I don't know, having a tape out, and then their mama sees an opportunity and markets the entire family, and then a whole bunch of them become gazillionaires. But in order for that to happen, they still have to do certain things to work, right? Other people achieve their fame, like athletes as an example. This is 4 a.m. in the morning, getting up every freaking day, going to the field, going to the ice rink, go and practicing and training over and over, injuries, body pain, and they become these elite athletes, and that's the way, through hard pain and suffering, they gain their fame. And for us to then use whatever weakness that may happen and to tear them down, to make them into these, as the one fellow said, he goes, I became a recluse. I didn't want to be part of this anymore, of society anymore. For him to speak to his parents and then have his information, what he just told them, appear in the tabloids the next day. And to think, these are my parents, how could they sell me out? And his parents are like, no, we haven't. What are you talking about? It's evil. It's pure evil. When you see an actor, an actress, a singer, that's an ability that person has, a craft that person has. If we as a society are willing to pay them, right, $1 million or pounds or euros or whatever it is, in order for us to enjoy their acting, their singing, their whatever that has elevated them, what's the need to tear them down? I don't understand that. We all are fallible people. We all have things that we are not proud of. We all have and have done things and will do things, because at the time of trying to make a decision, we make decisions based on our experiences and what we know. And sometimes it may not always be the right decision. But then to have that in the media and everyone to know about it, come on, right? Just because a person was born a prince or a princess, it doesn't mean that they cannot or doesn't suffer from anxiety or have mental health issues. Just because you're wealthy, it doesn't mean that you're not human. Just because one might be able to swipe a card or pay for certain services, it doesn't mean that you don't suffer, that you don't have emotions. It doesn't mean that, the person you want love from is going into rose bushes to find the love that he's looking for. It doesn't mean that then you don't feel rejected and ugly, and that you're not being able to give him what he wants and all that kind of stuff, if you get my drift. Right? We are human beings, and it's fascinating how, as the one fellow said, who I thought he had no remorse about anything whatsoever, but how we're willing to, as he said, well, they paid they paid the £1 or whatever it is, and they're the ones buying these tabloids. Like, I'll be honest with you, I am not interested in knowing any of this stuff unless the person wants to share it with us, right? Like if someone, an artist, an athlete, whomever, that a politician, right, is suffering, let's say, from certain mental health challenges or has anxiety, and they're willing to come forward with their story and talk about, how they're dealing with it. If someone who has cancer is willing to come forward and highlight and shine a light on that awful disease and what it does to the body, shine a light on what kind of research is being done, shine a light on the inequality that exists in healthcare systems that allows one person, right, to have extraordinary healthcare, while you have a mother or a father who is suffering from cancer, who still has to go through chemotherapy and still has to show up to work. That doesn't have 60 maids or servants cleaning and taking care and cooking or anything like that. They still have to get up every day, go to chemo, take care of the kids, go to work to make a living. So if a person could actually use their platform to highlight that kind of stuff, that would be excellent. Right? Gosh, I just got on my soapbox there. Oh, well. Okay, so, all right. So this is what's happening. I do have the entire documentary now. My apologies. I was trying to record the same time it was being transmitted or broadcast in the UK, and my feed kept getting interrupted. So that was just a fiasco. I do have the entire thing now. So what I'll do after I post this episode that I'm doing right now, I will post the entire documentary after. So you could, if you haven't had a chance to watch it, or you want to watch it, it will be there. And of course, you will only see certain. You will hear the entire audio, but the images, it's interrupted ever so often, right? Because we don't own the rights to it. All right. Okay, let's get started officially. I have to say that performance by Celine Dion just moved me. If you don't know, Celine Dion has this rare neurological disorder. It's called stiff person syndrome. And there's a documentary out. It's called I Am Celine Dion. It's on Prime. And there is a scene where she, I can't speak, where she is going through um, where her entire body, she's unable to speak, she's unable to move, severe muscle spasms. Oh, Madame Céline Dion, just formidable, incredible, incredible. All right, so let's get down to some of the coverage. Now, I'm not going into details on and reading the entire article or anything like that. I might go through one or two, but just the headline and the sort of sub headline underneath, just to get a sense, right? So the first one we have here is from the Hollywood Reporter, and it just reads: Prince Harry reveals all in ITV doc on tabloid lawsuits, saying UK press is, in quotes then, why I won't bring Meghan back. And then sort of the subtitle underneath: my grandmother, in brackets, is very much up there saying, see this through to the end, without question, Prince Harry said of the late Queen Elizabeth in Tabloids on Trial, which aired on Thursday night. The next one that we've got here, all right, so we've got here Anita Singh with The Telegraph. Tabloids on Trial, ITV1 review. Duke of Sussex reveals why he wouldn't bring Meghan back to Britain as program becomes Harry show. The documentary was meant to be about phone hacking, but just like the tabloids, its main focus was Harry. Anita, are you jealous? Is that it? Are you just jealous? Because you're being disingenuous here, right? You're not being an honest broker. And I don't know this for sure, but my hope is that you have analytical skills, that you're able to actually watch a program and intelligently formulate an honest critique about the program. Now, that headline and the subheadline is not being honest, because this was not about the Harry show. Harry showed up at the beginning, right? Or I should say, the documentary, the way it was edited or the way that they decided to present it, he shows up at the beginning and towards the end. And throughout, there's a few times where they do mention, or maybe once, where it's mentioned that because Harry has the resources, that he's able to carry this forward and carry it through, and to keep sort of the fire, the flame going, that these other people were able also to kind of piggyback on that. And if it wasn't for him keeping that flame, none of this might come out ever to light. So look, I understand, Anita, that you may not want to bite the hand that feeds you, but at some point you'll have to make the decision like Omid Scobie did, and we can see, his rewards that he's getting, if you're going to be on the side of truth and the right honesty, or you're going to be part of that energy of evil that creates this kind of toxic nonsense. That's all I'll say for now, Anita, because, okay, this is from the Evening Standard, the London Evening Standard, and their sort of headline is Duke of Sussex, Queen wanted me to continue tabloid battle to the end. Then their subtitle is, he blames the fight against the press as a central piece in destroying his relationship with his family. All right, next one. Okay, so this is something that I wanted to kind of illustrate. So, we all know this already, but I'm just showing it. So, they all have the same headline. How creative, right? And many times, what happens, I'm not saying this is what has happened here. Well, all of these publications, they actually have the same headline, right? The Duke of Sussex, Queen wanted me to continue tabloid battle to the end. That's the headline. And many times, some of these newspapers, whether they, local newspaper, your town newspaper, they're owned by a major conglomerate. Let's say, like, for example, like the Murdochs, right? They own all this stuff, and sometimes you don't even know that your local newspaper is actually owned by one of these big conglomerates. And what happens is that, they have one person who will write, but then that same article is distributed to all of their newspapers. It's the same thing that happens as we see very clearly, when certain things are put in the tabloid media, and then a publication in Spain will pick it up. A publication in Germany, in the US will pick it up, and they'll just say, as per the Metro in the UK, Sally Nobody said this, and this. So they don't even do any checks on whether Sally Nobody, right, has any journalistic integrity and is writing the truth. So just to show you how this stuff kind of spreads. And one day you wake up and you don't know why everyone hates you, number one, or you go into a town that you're trying to escape the craziness of the city, and you go into this cute little town up in Walton, and everyone is looking at you and they hate you. You're like, why does everyone in Walton hate me? Well, they get in their news or the articles in their local newspaper from, the same source that is trying to abuse you. So my friends over at the Daily Express, I can't even say that without giggling. My friends at the Daily Express, ITV viewers switch off Prince Harry interview after some complain. What? Who complained? And what did they complain about? Now, I couldn't see it. I couldn't read the article because it's behind like a paid wall thing. And I was like, who cares? Because I'm not reading the article. I just want to see what's the headline that they're going with. Whatever, dude. Whatever. Okay, so this I found interesting. So all three are from Hello Magazine. Well, the one in Spanish is from Hola. So for the English versions of Hello Magazine, they had these two kind of headlines. So the one, Prince Harry reveals real reason he won't let Meghan Markle return to the UK. And the second headline was, Prince Harry reveals the central piece behind rift with royal family. But in Spain, in the Spanish version, it's una herencia millonaria que lleva 30 años guardada. So basically, they're talking about the inheritance that Prince Harry is to get from his great-grandmother, right? And they're saying, multi-million inheritance that was kept for 30 years, a gift for Prince Harry's birthday. So in the Spanish version, I didn't see anything in regards to the documentary. Interesting, eh? So I left this one towards the end of this segment. It's from the Daily Fail. And it's from my best friend, Jen. I mean, hey girl, how you doing? And she writes, Harry, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to giggle. It's just that I start with this stuff and the insanity of thinking this person is a journalist. I mean, just think about it. They're a journalist. They're not a fiction writer. They're not a person writing fiction. They're supposed to report on the facts. Harry's just made his most outrageous and sanctimonious claim to date, says my friend Jan. I'll read some of it. How very convenient of Prince Harry to blame the rift with his family on the one-sided, obsessive, eternal battle with the tabloid and popular press. I love how she introduced the popular press. See that? So the insinuation is he's against you because like you like to read our shite, and he has his battle against the popular press, the press of the people. Idiot. Okay, next paragraph. He made the claim on last night's documentary, Tabloids on Trial, ITV, telling sympathetic health correspondent, Jan, do you have a problem with people who eat healthy? Because I thought we talked about this at Anonymous Eating Association last week. Because you and I are in the same boat. Listen, I have right now Haagen-Dazs in front of me as I'm doing this work. What were you eating? Okay, I shouldn't. We shouldn't talk about that. I'm just saying, like, you shouldn't write things like that, though. Like, if listen, I know you and I envy Rebecca's shape. Like, look at her. Rebecca's been going to the gym. Rebecca, like, has what? Quinoa and all that stuff and those greens and stuff that you and I, girl, don't like. What do we like? Haagen-Dazs, right? So we shouldn't write in our stuff. It'd be so obvious if we're being kind of like catty. Meow. Don't be catty. Okay? Mm-hmm. Looking at me with those sexy eyes? Stop it. Okay. So let me get back to my sense of normality here. Telling sympathetic health correspondent Rebecca Berry it was his mission against newspapers that destroyed the relationship with his family. Was it really? No, Jan. We had a conversation also last week about, irony and being kind of like, shady and stuff. It's not good. You're a serious journalist. Let's continue. Yeah, that's certainly a central piece of it, he said, nodding from deep within the ruff of hair that now encircles his entire Jana. Oh my gosh, you are we need to have an intervention for you. Like, I know it's like an addiction, isn't it? It's like an addiction. You can't help yourself. You can't help yourself. We talked about like beauty concepts and we talked about who is good looking and who is not. And we talked about, remember, Jen? We chatted about, we don't like people calling us names or saying things about our physique, or about the way we look, or whether our eyes are a certain color or not. We talked about that, so why are you now talking about this in your article? I don't know. Like definitely, I think you need to go back to rehab because you're so addicted to this stuff, you can't help yourself. Let me see. What else did you say? So, Jan wrote, continues, deep within the ruff of hair that now encircles his entire face, like a giant ginger dandelion. But that's a hard question to answer because anything I say about my family results in a torrent of abuse from the press. Well, at least you put his quote there because it is true. Look, I didn't read the rest of what you said because I think I already know what you're going to say in the rest. All right. Okay, so that's just a brief sort of overview of some of the stuff I was able to kind of capture, and it's so. Sorry, folks. I'm like, as I'm talking to you, folks, I have this slide, the same slide with Jan staring. Oh God, give me a minute. Let me just like move this slide. Okay, sorry about that. As I said before, I get these like I don't know fits of laughter or giggles because I'll find folks I find the stupidest things funny, or like if it makes me uncomfortable, I'll start to giggle. Or you know what I mean? All right, let's just move on from that. Okay, let's just move on. So I want to get to our next sort of thing I want to chat about, and it's this whole new situation, right? Controversial situation that my really wonderful friend, we are like bosom bodies, okay? Our bosoms are next to our bodies. That's how close we are. Ricardo, okay? Ricardito, Ricardo. Sometimes, Ricardo, I don't know if I love you or I love you or I love you, but I know it's love. I know it's love because I need to really stop this. I really need to stop it because it's becoming ridiculous now. Like when I start to make myself laugh, that's how stupid I think what I'm saying, and you folks might find it like like one person when I started the podcast, because I just wanted to be myself and just let it be. Right? I didn't edit a lot of stuff. I just like talked and did my thing and then that. But then, you start to get the internet start to criticize you, and you start to get conscious about certain things again. So one of the critiques was, "Can you stop giggling? Like if you didn't giggle that much, I would actually like listen to your stuff." And it's like, oh, okay. So let's edit out giggling. So I started to edit out giggling, and then I realized also, like, I don't know. Oh, it's gonna happen now because I'm going to talk about it. Like my stuttering, or when I'm having difficulties pronouncing certain words or stuff like that. I At the beginning, I used to just leave it in because I just thought this is me. This is what happens. Like, especially if I'm nervous. And I soon realized also, like, people were like, yeah, there's a thing called editing. You can edit that stuff out. So I started to edit that stuff out, which also takes a lot of time because we record and we record and we record until I don't know. I'm not pronouncing the word completely, or pronouncing the word completely. No, it's butchering the word completely, like really badly. Anyways, I digress. What was I talking about? Rebecca. So no, I wasn't talking about Rebecca. I don't know why I have Rebecca in my head now. Well, I think I'm finished with Rebecca, right? And we're finished with Jan, so we can move on now. So let's just go to Maureen. Oh, sorry. I mean, Ricardo. Ricardo, Maureen.
Now, Richard, you have caused a bit of a big stir online with a story you wrote about an interview with a certain Meghan Markle.
Yes, I mean, this relates back to the first time we sort of got to know Meghan was the engagement interview in 2017, and it was conducted by Michelle Hussein, who's a very serious news presenter in Britain. It was very interesting. It gave an insight into their relationship.
And I think we were all very happy, weren't we? We loved them for it.
Yeah, I think those interviews are always sort of exciting because you can tell the couple are really thrilled to have got engaged, and it's meant to be a very happy interview. But in their Netflix series, Harry and Meghan, Meghan gave a very new perspective on it, a very negative one. She said that she felt it was an orchestrated, it was a reality show and the whole thing had sort of been staged. Well, what's happened this week is that Michelle Hussein, she's a very
There is a treasure buried deep within us. In this life, we have to dig through the dirt to get to the gold, embracing the dark times while chasing our light. Your victory will require either the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Let your purpose persist in every drop of sweat. You are transforming rocks to gold, doing what was once impossible.
And the days go by, longing, waiting for you.
On the path to transformation, when do you cross the line from becoming to being? Will you know when it happens? Did you see it coming? Or is the treasure, the journey, happening slowly?
So slowly that you may not even realize. Like water battles stone. Patient. Persistent. Resilient.
Does each step you take chip away at the layers that cover your gold?
They are the days when we feel like we have nothing left.
Carry on trying to stay headstrong, knowing everywhere to go, but there ain't no goals. No kidding, life's pretty when it's comfortable. No kidding, life's pretty when it's comfortable.
When we aren't quite sure how we'll make it, but we start all over with each rising sun to find it again and again and again.
That just be the motivation. That just be the motivation. That just be the motivation.
Crafting the greatest versions of ourselves with our own hands. Naked, open, exposed.
So do we try, choose to fight, even if you're wrong.
On the path to manifestation, where does your finish line lie? Is it in the days where you feel you can fly? What if what you find there is borrowed and not given? Are you still willing to rise?
With hope in our hearts and the resolve to finish what you started, you become untouchable, unstoppable, invincible.
He's immortal now!
The world is our stage.
And what we do with our time will be
The mirror effect.
And our time is now.
There is no turning back.
This is what we've been working for.
Push towards your dreams with the path paved in front of us.
Run towards your purpose. Own your truth.
We're ready. This moment is ours to conquer.
Can you hear the sound of your heart beating?
Fire in our hearts,
Can you feel your blood rise?
ice in our veins.
Can you see the goal within reach?
The taste of victories, so sweet.
Oh my God! The dream has come true.
An incredible story for Canada.
It's going to be 2 gold medals in a row for Canada. It is a gold race for the Canadians. C4 victory. Here comes Billy Gunn. 984, a world record.
The journey started long ago.
And though the path to greatness requires self-reliance, we're not who we are without support and guidance.
Remember who inspired and paved the way, lighting the flame that brought you here today.
Lay it all on the line.
Give it all you've got.
Turning lead to gold.
There's more in you than you think.
Trust the race is already won.
From human to hero, our time is now.
Burning bright like the sun.
With so much time in the shadows, show the world what you've become.
The time is now.
This is your moment in bright lights.
This is your stage. Let loose. Let go.
Let your essence flow. This is us.
This is ours.
Who can stop our power? We were born for this.
In the shadows, no longer.
Let's rise and conquer.
The time
is
now.
Come feed this fire. Tell me you don't feel it too. Make me burn brighter. 'Cause my love is golden. It's golden for you. Golden for you. Golden for you. Golden for you. My love.
Shea Gilgis Alexander.